program is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. The information provided in this podcast reflects the opinions and experiences of the hosts and is not medical or mental health advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional regarding any questions about your health or well-being. If you are experiencing a medical or mental health emergency, contact your local emergency services.
I realize that throughout my day, I'm going to be giving so much to other people. I like to start my day with giving myself a lot.
I let go of any expectation on me. I've let go of expectation on my daughter. So for me, being able to start my day in no expectation has been the most freeing thing that I've experienced. Welcome to the Adjusting Your Life podcast. I'm Kennedi and I'm here with Dr. Steve. This is episode 102, Rewiring Your Day.
This episode of the Adjusting Your Life podcast is brought to you by Ward Chiropractic. Dr. Steve finds what most doctors miss. And his wall adjustment technique? It can bring fast relief. Check out chiroman.com for hours, location, and to contact the clinic. That's chiroman, chiroman.com.
Let's get started. Dr. Steve, what do you do to start your day?
Well, I wake up early. And so commonly I'm up around 5 o'clock in the morning. And so I do many things to begin my day. I realize that throughout my day, I'm going to be giving so much to other people. I like to start my day with giving myself a lot. And so I wake up, I like to stretch. So often I will ice my back. I watch something positive on YouTube. And because I'm always looking for more awareness. And I take a bath. And I do my love commands every day. I also am really big in programming the day I want to have. So I'm looking at the divine patient that I want to be attracted to me, a patient that's ready for a breakthrough, that it's open to awareness, and that is committed to their health. I have in the past not done that kind of work, and I find that when I frame my brain properly, I attract what I really want. And so for me, every day I spend at least an hour and a half on various things to fill myself up. And that's how I can best stay healthy in the gift that I give, because so often in life we have a lot of people coming that have a lot of issues and maybe no awareness at all, and they may be energy draining. And so it's just really critical for me that I am taking care of my own energy prior to being willing to give a lot of energy to other people.
Right. So what I hear you saying too is like you're kind to yourself when you start your day.
I feel like it's critical that you're always kind to yourself. If you have a choice to be critical or kind, I'm going to choose to be kind. And that's true of life as well. Even when someone's unhealthy or critical or angry, I stay in kindness. I think is one of my greatest attributes. And so yes, how we start our day is so key to how our day ends. The middle of our day, the end of the day, and then the next steps will be the next day that comes. So these steps really seem to work well with me, and it really helps me. And before I would wake up later, and I jump right out into healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found myself more exhausted with that. So even though I get up earlier and I'm not sleeping as long, I end up having more energy at the end of the day when I start my days with love for myself and taking consistent action, and both on the physical end and on the mental end.
So for our audience that is thinking that maybe they don't have that time in the morning to spare, or, you know, what would be a practical suggestion that they could just start, implementing small things in the morning?
Well, first of all, I'd change the mindset to I have energy for myself.
And maybe I have time.
And I can find time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I study a lot of ladies, you know, that they need to get their kids ready and get them to school. And then they are going to, go to a job and they're going to work their hours. Maybe they are driving to the job, which takes time, and they're driving home from the job that takes time. And so a lot of times they can feel as if they don't have any time for themselves. And so even if all you have is 10 minutes and you can start your day with framing your brain, start it with a love command. I choose to love myself today. Recognize if you're going to a job that maybe you don't like. Well, what can you be grateful for? Even if you don't like the job you're doing. Personally, I would find a new job if I didn't like the job I was doing. But we can all find a little time for ourselves. And it's a big issue for people, because I see it all the time. I'll have someone 70 years old and they've never been to a chiropractor. I'll ask them, will you get a massage? No, never got a massage. Well, do you ice your back? No, I never iced my back. And they have actually lived their whole life withholding from themselves. And a lot of that is a denial mechanism. Because so many people, when you study their spine, they're not present in their spine. So it's easy to make everything else more important. But say a woman has a father abandonment and she feels like she would have been loved if she was a male. And now she's moved from that energy or wound into multitasking. Oh, I need to do this and this and this and this and this and all these things. And, but the root of that, the root of our need to overdo comes from an injury within us.
Right.
So we overdo because we don't want to be revealed as inadequate. And so often I get into their mind with, I'll ask them, I say, are you good at telling yourself you love yourself? And, so many women will say yes. And then I'll ask them, well, when was the last time you told yourself you love yourself? And then they'll be like,
Can't remember.
Like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's so important for all of us to understand as we come into our life, sometimes for the first time in our life, because maybe we've been living our life based on someone else's behavioral programs. And so what I'm encouraging them to do is start seeing their life through their own eyes that love them. Start working on their value and how valuable they are, and not the things they do, because so many women today feel like the more they do,
The more valuable.
the more valuable they are. But we're actually valuable before we do.
Right.
So I don't say I'm valuable when I heal someone or help someone. My value's in who I am, not in what I do. What I do, I love. I'm blessed. I love what I do. I love taking the hardest cases imaginable and reframing them and giving them an opportunity to have a different life experience, one that doesn't have to be surrounding chronic pain, chronic exhaustion. And so for me, it's finding time. I take a good amount of time each morning. For instance, today I ended up getting here early and I walked. I went in my massage chair for 2 cycles. I ran 3 cycles on the Beamer mat. I then iced my back, and I started seeing in my awareness the day that was going to unfold and seeing exactly how it's going to unfold. So instead of going into something like this, you and I are rookies. We have never been involved in a podcast.
Right.
We laughed about it early on. We really didn't know what we were doing,
Yeah.
right? So I don't go into this with a perfectionism model. This has to be perfect. I go into this with, wow, this is exciting that we're doing this, and that we're going to attract people that are ready for this message. And the people we're going to attract are people that maybe I would never meet any other way. And so the influence is incredible because, I have people contact me because we're posting videos most days. People I don't even know that are reaching out and telling me how my message that they heard has transformed an issue in their life. The other day, I was really busy and I was adjusting some big guides outside on the stronger wall. And this one person who isn't my patient, but his wife's my patient, he said, "Doc, come over here." And so I walk over and he's like, "I just want you to know that those videos that you're putting out, they're changing my life. The whole world needs to be mindful of this. And I'm so excited to watch how you have evolved and how your message is so clear to people." And so this is really exciting for me. And like many things I do, I've learned to do it without expectation.
Right.
It doesn't mean I don't give my best intention to it.
Right.
I just don't tie into the outcome of it. Right?
Yes.
So like I'll have someone and they'll say, "Well, Doc, I still have a problem." And I'll say, "Well, I can give my best to you." Right? And it's very feasible that once I give my best, you might still have the problem. But all I can do for you is give my best, and that's what I'm dedicated to doing. And so it's so different than, "Oh, I'm inadequate because you have a problem that I'm not solving." That was me early on in my career. If I didn't solve a problem, I felt, "Oh, I'm inadequate." So then I would work so hard on that person to try to solve the problem and use all this energy. And I see like 4 people. And at the end of the day, I was like, "Oh my
Exhausted,
God,
yeah.
I'm so tired." And there's times I've treated 150 people. I've worked parties where I've treated over 100 people multiple times after working on people in my clinic. And then working with people from, say, 4 in the afternoon to 3 in the morning. And then I'm up at 6 and I'm working on people starting at 9, right? And so when we get out of expectation that we have to attain an expectation, no, we just give our best to it. And stay out of outcome. Stay into intention. Am I giving my best intention? My goal is to do that to every person that comes my way. It doesn't matter, what culture they're coming from. My job is to be loving, gentle, and kind, to give my best and to help them to understand that I may be looked at as a really amazing doctor, but the greatest doctor is themselves. And I'm going to give them some tools. They can choose to utilize those tools and they can choose not to. Like someone will say, well, I still have this problem. Well, have you been icing? No. Well, I told you to get back in a couple of days, and that was 2 weeks ago.
Or like, did you use the neck pillow I recommended?
You use the collar.
Yeah.
Have you used the seat wedge? Are you doing your exercises? And everything is no, 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 no. So what they're saying is they're not going to do anything about their problem.
Right.
They want me to solve their problem without their involvement.
That's a fantasy.
And it's, and so often, because I am an incredible adjuster, I impact people's lives, whether I go into emotional intelligence or not.
Right.
Because some people, I'm just adjusting. Like the basketball team that I worked on from Mississippi. They came in an hour and a half later than they said, and it was 11 o'clock by the time they were able to get out of their rooms. And I was an hour away, and I had to work in the morning. And so I ended up doing quick reads on people, not extensive. And I ended up adjusting 30 people in a little over like an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. So there's so many possibilities in how we go about healing. Sometimes someone's going to get less from me. Sometimes they're going to get more from me. But even when someone gets less from me, I am giving my best.
Right.
We need to look at that mechanism from energy, right? When my energy is abundant, it's very different than if my energy is depleted. It doesn't mean I'm not giving my best to them. It's just I don't have the same energy, so I'm having to operate more efficiently. And so that's just some of the things that I have found have really helped me in rewiring my day and in creating the day that I want to live and influencing people in the way I want to influence, and then always bringing clarity back to the fact that the person within a challenge has a right to work a process or not. And when they do work a process, the outcome is incredible.
Right. Thank you for sharing all that information on how you start your day. We will be right back and we'll talk about how I start my day. Welcome back. We're going to talk about how I start my day and see what feedback Dr. Steve has for me on any changes I might be able to make. So let's just jump right in. I've been doing some work with you for the last 5 years, and I've made some adjustments definitely to how my days start. And it really is probably applies to every day of the week, really. I would say that one of the things that I have made a priority for me is that I don't start the day with an expectation. And just back to expectation, which I want to touch on because I think it's really important, is that in my 20s, I remember having expectations of everyone around me, strangers, people in front of me, at the coffee shop or getting gas. And my mind was full of opinions on how people should do things, or if they walked around the car in the wrong way, or maybe they should say this or do that. And it was a lot of like noise that I had in my head. And then I remember, and even, in my 20s thinking also, what my parents should be doing, what my siblings should be doing, what my family member, all my family members, my friends. And it was exhausting. And moving into my 30s, I think I let go of, strangers. So maybe I wasn't having a thought about how people should act or behave in front of me at the coffee shop. But I still had this expectation of, my family, my daughter, if I was with someone, and that too was exhausting, I would say. I think at the time I thought that if I didn't have expectations of people, that they weren't being held accountable, and that it was my job to hold people accountable, and, I should tell them what they should be doing. And then as I moved into my 40s, most of that went away, apart from thinking, well, I absolutely am going to have expectations of my daughter because I have to. And, very close family members and, if I'm with someone, so I've narrowed it down to like three, so to speak, relationships, family being one of those. And at that point, and that was my early 40s, I realized with my work with you that I don't have to have an expectation of anyone, and not even of anyone, but not myself. And that's been probably the most freeing thing for me, is that I let go of any expectation on me. I've let go of expectation on my daughter. For the most part, I think as a parent, it definitely can come up in certain situations, but I do try to like check myself. And I've been able, and what I realized with the work that I've done with you is that it doesn't mean I'm not holding people accountable. It means that people are free to, people have free will and they're able to move and do the things they need to do. But also for myself, it allows me to grow and evolve in a way that I'm not putting like this box around myself. And I think that as it pertains to relationships, especially if you or for example, have a marriage and you're starting your day out, I think it's easy for people to go into this like expectation of how they think that their partner's what they're going to do on their list of things to do and how they're going to treat you or whatnot. And I think it can create a situation where it makes the day long and exhausting. And so for me, being able to start my day in no expectation has been the most freeing thing that I've experienced. The other thing that I do is I started with gratitude. I also end my day with gratitude. What I want to touch on that is that I think towards the end of the day, and for me, I end my day in prayer. And it used to be that I would be asking for things if I really think about it. And what changed over time, and not even that I was like totally cognitive of me doing it, but I stopped asking for things and just was showing gratefulness. And the things that I might want to ask for, I didn't even have to ask for. They actually started just happening, Yeah. And so for me, I know that when I start my day in gratitude, that I'm kinder to people, I'm kinder to my daughter, I'm kinder to the people I work with. And I think that for me, taking that moment before I get out of bed and just thinking of everything that I'm thankful for has really been impactful.
Yes. I think it's important to just coach you on, it's not like you don't start your day with any expectation. You've learned to have reasonable expectations of yourself because your whole life you have been programmed to come from unreasonable expectations. So what I've seen with you is such a dramatic change in this issue. I remember not so long ago, you called me over to work with your daughter. And I was pretty much working with you, not much with your daughter. And I remember how you were saying how you have these high expectations of her. And so I'm like asking you questions. So your daughter is a problem child? And you're like, no. And your daughter is not doing well in school? And no, she's doing great in school. And we start rolling through these questions, and everything that was coming back was how amazing your daughter is. And as you know, when we were talking, you got a little frustrated with me because I was really wanting to support her. And I wanted to point out that where you were coming from was a generational program of negation and how you were negated when you were doing amazing things or not even no expression was being made. Right. It's like you could have done something amazing and nothing is
no one noticed.
Right. And if you did something not so great,
no one
noticed.
Yeah.
And so I remember that, and I remember how excited your daughter was because here she's thinking, I'm coming over and I'm going to get on her. And then what actually happened was I didn't get on her.
No, you got on me.
I got on you. And I helped you to understand that when we come from unreasonable expectation, until we become consciously aware of that, we project that unconsciously onto others. But as you have grown, you have learned the importance of recognizing how amazing she is already, that she is amazing before she does, that you don't have to be on her because she kind of takes care of herself.
She's on herself.
And she puts out incredible effort and energy and does amazing things, from playing the piano to cheerleading to getting great grades to taking some college courses. And she's evolving just so beautifully. And it must be exciting for you because it's a relationship that most mothers and daughters never experience.
Right.
Where a mother can make a shift in awareness and she can actually see the greatness in her daughter and work to celebrate and support her growth and evolution. And because so many parent-child is about the parent telling the child what they're doing is not good enough. And you've kind of you've done like a complete dichotomy there to, wow, I'm just sitting back watching the great things my daughter's doing without me, projecting your inherited wound onto her. So that's the big thing, is to understand that a key to an amazing life is not to have no expectation. It's to have reasonable expectations. When we get to the end of our life, if we come from unreasonable expectations, then we get to our end of our life and we can't acknowledge anything that we've done that's amazing.
Right.
And the difference being is, I could say, well, what amazing things have you seen your daughter do in the last 6 months? What would your answer be?
Oh, I mean, there's lots of things. She's self-driven. She wakes up early to handle business, and I don't have to wake her up. And not even that I have that I don't have that expectation of her. It's just a beautiful thing to see that she is so self-motivated, and she has a internal barometer, so to speak, that she holds herself accountable. So I think that was one of the pivotal moments that changed, is that I would say I had my foot on the gas and I took it off the gas.
Yeah. And how exciting that is to do something different that you don't see too often in a daughter-mother relationship. And on top of that, when we get into patterning as well, we started with your daughter, she was right curvature standing and backward. But when she would sit, she was left curvature. And so she can get triggered by your reaction.
Yes.
It doesn't mean it never occurs, because, it's easy sometimes when we're not feeling appreciated or something.
Let's talk about that. I think,
sure.
Because I think that a lot of people can relate to this. It's something that I've been working on for a long time. I think probably even before I met you, and it's just been a journey, because I think that women have a tendency to overpush, exhaust themselves. You don't stop to eat or drink, or if you're tired, you're not lay down, or stuff like that. And you just keep pushing. But then what ends up happening is you hit that wall, and then everyone around you pays for you hitting the wall, and no one wants to see you hit the wall. And actually, you make it worse when you hit that wall, and then you verbally, emasculate maybe the person you're with, and then you go into authoritative parent mode with your child, and it's like all the things you've been doing to dedicate yourself to your family, it's as if you've just undone it. And you really, I think for children, it's like, I think it's really confusing, and I've been guilty of that myself, where I've exhausted myself and then I hit the wall, and then it's like everything that I've done up until a point, like it's like it goes away, and I think it's important for women to not overpush themselves, and to realize that, well, one, their value isn't in the sacrifices that they make per se, because there's this idea, I think, at least I can speak as a woman, is that there's these sacrifices we make for our family and our children. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is I actually do think that men, for whatever reason, like they're, I don't know, nomadic in a way, like, if they're hungry, they stop to eat. If they're tired, they go to sleep, and I think there's something that we can learn from them in that way. Whereas women don't tend to do that, but then there's a effect that it has on your family. And I don't remember where I heard this, but it's like someone said that the woman sets the tone for the home, and I think that's really true. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if mom's having a good day, everyone's having a good day, but if mom's not having a good day, no one's having a good day.
Yeah.
And it's important for me, for my daughter to set that tone and that energy in the house. And obviously, it starts at the beginning of your day, right?
Sure. How you begin your day, how you operate in the middle of your day, and how you end your day is a mindset. Mm-hmm. And if you start your day in love and joy, at the middle of the day when you're tired, you carry on with, I'm going to be joyful and loving. And then you end your day with acknowledgement of the things that you have done, and that you can now rest knowing that you've given your best. Mm-hmm. And you can begin to operate in the awareness that when we get into programs of overdoing, there's a wound in that program.
Right.
There's something we didn't receive,
right,
that caused us to believe that our value was in overdoing, overcommitting. Mm-hmm. But as you know, when you shift on this mechanism, mm-hmm. You can be more efficient. You don't have to be exhausted throughout your day, and you don't need to have low emotional intelligence because you're not so exhausted. Mm-hmm. Because when we deplete ourselves because we're choosing to overdo, mm-hmm. because of a wound, I see it a lot with women. They have wounds with their father, mm-hmm. and their whole overdoing mechanism is about not feeling love in that relationship. Mm-hmm. So now they're overcommitting, and they're taking on so much, and they're trying to prove to themselves that they're valuable because they're taking on mm-hmm. so much energetically. Mm-hmm. But if we can identify that wound, mm-hmm. and realize that person that wasn't able to be present or wasn't able to love you at the level you wanted to be loved, mm-hmm. If we can see that non-personally again, then we can learn to operate efficiently and to save energy in everything we do. Mm-hmm. And that's really the goal in life, is to learn how to be efficient. When I see 40, 50 people, I can't give one person everything I got. Mm-hmm. I need to be efficient in how I work with all people. Mm-hmm. And I'm really good at understanding when I've given my best, mm-hmm. and when someone comes at me with, well, I still have this problem, then for me, I just simply reframe it. I say, well, I'm not Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. And I can just give you my best, and that's what I'm committed to doing. Are you needing me to give you more than my best? Because I don't really know how to do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to give my best to give more than my best when I'm dedicated to giving my best, right? So learning these steps keep women from going into autoimmune. The women that are going into autoimmune are the ladies that allow their mental mind to dictate their physical body, and their mind's always telling them that they need to do more. Now, when I talk to them, I say, okay, now when you say, I will handle it, that is you in your masculine.
Right.
When you say, I feel overwhelmed, that's you in your feminine. If you tell people you'll handle it, people are going to let you handle it.
Of course.
But when you express to people you're feeling overwhelmed, people will step up and help shift and help carry some of that burden. For instance, I was talking to a young lady that I helped raise, and she was telling me, well, I'm working 2 jobs. And then she said, but I get Saturday off. And I, well, what are you going to do on Saturday? Well, I need to clean, and I need to do laundry, and I need to go grocery shopping. And so I said to her, I said, well, don't you have kids that are, kind of grown? And yes. And I said, okay, well, this is what would be better suited for you. It would be better for you to say to your kids, hey, listen, on Saturday, I'm going to do the laundry, and what I'm going to do is share with you the process of doing the laundry. I'm going to wash the dishes, and I'm going to share with you the process of washing the dishes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to let them do it and say that they're not doing it. Well, then the next week you bring them back into training because you realize that training someone to do something that they've never done when they've always just relied on you to do it.
It might take some time.
Right, it might take some time. It's not hard for them to learn it, but they're accustomed to the program that you have handled it. For women out there, being conscious of you being vulnerable.
Right, asking for help, yeah.
Asking for help, saying you're overwhelmed is going to be way more powerful than just going from your masculine that says, hey, I'm going to handle this.
Well, and even when they do handle it, or even if I can speak for myself, like it's like, there's an opportunity for resentment to build. And so then you resent, you spent all this time cleaning and putting everything away, and then the kids come home, and then and then I think women start, that's where bitterness and resentment start, right?
Sure.
And so to stay out of that, I think an easy solution is to just say out loud, I'm overwhelmed, or I need help, or asking for help. There isn't there's something that it's in my interactions with women over the years. It's like there's something that it's like there's this dignity or something in like running yourself into the ground and leaving nothing at the end. And in my mind, over the work that I've been doing, the time is that I no longer think that. In fact, I think it's more empowering and more of an example to my daughter for me to take a break, or and maybe it means that I hire someone to come and do the housework, or I say that I don't have the energy, or I want to save energy. And that I think has been more empowering for my daughter to see than her mom exhausting herself and then losing my cool, because when a woman's exhausted,
or hungry,
tired,
those
you're usually going to get inevitably there's going to be some type of reaction, which I think with families it ends up in maybe a confrontation. And what I want women to understand is that, well, when their value is not in being a wife, a mother, a sister, a friend, it's like just in who you are without all of that, right? When you have that knowledge inside you and you have a peace with that, you can navigate all those hats with grace and not be reactive, and just have this peace about yourself. I think is what I've learned And it definitely takes time for sure. And there's also boundaries, right? Like I remember, offering to do everything for everyone and thinking that, that's how I was going to earn love. And so over time, I don't, whether it was hosting a baby shower, hosting a engagement party, or, I'd always be the one to like volunteer. And what you realize is that, someone will volunteer and someone will be taken care of. So, everything ends up getting, done. But when you can realize that your value is not tied in your actions, it's really one of the most powerful things that you can, not only you realize especially if you're a parent, but then also to be able to truly convey that to your children. Because I think when I hear either children or even young adults or even adults say that, I want my mom to be proud of me, sometimes it's like, wow, I mean, what a long journey you're going to have if that's what your thought is that most of the time it could be that your mom isn't proud of her own self, right? So how is she ever going to tell you she's proud of you, right?
And more importantly, are you proud of you based on what you're giving,
right?
As you give your best to the world, right? And so but it's always going back to reasonable expectations. Is it reasonable to believe that you can handle every problem and load? No. Is it more reasonable to believe that as you learn to save energy, you will handle load as you come into that process
Much
to
more.
handle it?
Yeah.
So meaning, if our expectation is I have to handle all these issues in one day, why do you need to handle all those issues in one day? Why don't we take the most important issue, give our best to it, address it, go on to the next important issue, realize that there's always going to be things that come up in your reality that will require some energy. But most importantly is you're reasonable with your expectations. You realize your value is not in what you're doing. You're learning to say no. Like I had a patient in extreme left lower back pain last week. And I was saying to her, she says, "Oh, I'm retired." But she's agreed to be on these panels and step up and do all these extra programs. And I said, listen, if you want your back to get better, your body's needing you to stop saying yes all the time and learn to say no. And so she comes back and she said, oh, I have 4 hours of pain relief, which I haven't had for, I can't even remember. But I also have said like 5 times that I'm not going to do something that I had committed to. And so here she is retired, but she's in the same mechanism her whole life of feeding that the only way she has value is to overcommit. And no, we're valuable before we commit. And when we learn not to overcommit, how much energy can we save?
Well, and I think people too, like it all works out. People survive without you. You think like, oh, it's not going to, if it has to be done, I have to do it. And you find that sometimes they find another person that's willing to extract the energy for whatever reason. And that life goes on and people, people survive. The world's not going to fall apart if you say no to something. And that's really empowering is to say, something, with my daughter is that, she's a cheerleader and, it's my goal to go to like the home games, but I don't go to every game. And she's going to be a senior next year, and I probably am going to go to more away games since it is going to be her last year. But just this past week, she had a home game, and I said to her, is it important for you that I go? And she said, it would be great if you did, but if you don't, it's okay too. And one thing that's important is that I believe her when she says that. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it, but because it's like, you want to be able to talk to your kids and not feel like, okay, like I have to go to like every single thing and like, be exhausted. And I think that sometimes as parents, we can set our kids up where they have unreasonable expectations, and like you can set it up where like you're going to be at every single event, and that there's this devastation that's going to happen if, you don't go to a game or a gymnastics meet or a soccer tournament. And so with my daughter, we've worked on things, and there's things that I enjoy doing, and there's things that she enjoys, and I don't always enjoy the things that she enjoys. I support her and all of that, but it's okay as a parent, I think, to give yourself grace and not have to go to every single game, because I think it's like setting your child up for like just having that expectation in their life. And even when it comes to like, for example, it's my daughter's birthday, right? I have not set her up in a way where she has lots of uncles and aunts, and on her birthday, she doesn't always hear from all of them. And that is okay. And I come from the place with her that I want her to operate that under the guys that she's not going to hear from anyone, actually. And so if she does hear from people, or, if she hears from her grandparents or maybe one grandparent, that like, it's just a bonus, right? Because I could have set her up like and been upset about, oh, this aunt didn't call you. And this aunt didn't call you. And I can't believe this aunt didn't call. And what is that going to do? How does that serve her?
On the other hand, you can also empower her to, when something's important to her,
right,
to reach out, and instead of waiting for someone to call, pick up the phone and say, hey, I wanted to talk to you today. It's my birthday, and I just wanted to share with you, because you're important to me, what's going on with me. So we get in a habit of expecting other people to do things, but so often we don't express our need for them to do it. And then, but we have an expectation that they should do it. So when they don't do it, we have this major letdown.
And get
right?
upset.
And then we lose energy, and we operate in emotion. We start expressing things that aren't even true, because again, if I want something, and I'm sitting back and I'm expecting you to fulfill it for me, but I'm not sharing with you how important it is for this to be fulfilled.
Right. Like, how can you expect that person?
Can you expect
right. Well,
that?
And I think like with me and my daughter, what's so great is I think that, and I mean, she may not think it's great, but I think it's great is that like around my birthday or Mother's Day, right? I've really moved into the place of me celebrating those days, and not waiting for, I don't want her to have the pressure in her life to think that if for some reason, if she didn't reach out, that I'm going to be disappointed, right? Or that I need her to shout me out on the social platform or something. And there's been lots of times in her life, because she's, her dad and I are divorced, that she's either been with her dad at Christmas or there was a holiday or something. And I really moved into a place where it was like, I didn't want her to have the pressure of like her having to, even like on Thanksgiving or Christmas, for example, if she was with her dad, to feel that like, to be scared or nervous if she didn't text me or call me, that then there was a consequence, or that I was going to be upset. The fact is that I love her. She loves me. I don't need her to prove it to me. I don't need it to be a constant thing where it's like, oh, if I don't post online, happy birthday, my mom's going to be upset. And I think I'm really proud of that, because what it does is it also filters into other parts of her life, but she knows, we trust that we care about each other, and we're not having to prove it over and over. And so when she said to me about this game, I'll be happy if I see you, but it's okay if you don't come, I believe her just as she can believe me. Right. Because I think it's important you say what you mean. And so like when it comes to like whether it's dating or a partner or your marriage, when you present something, if you're someone that would like flowers, right? Instead of saying you don't care about it, but you do, right? And then an occasion comes and, your husband doesn't buy the flowers, and then you make him pay for it. And then there's all this dysfunction, right? I think it's important because I think that people that care about you are willing to do things that are important to you. And like we talked about on a different episode, is being able to say, it really makes me feel special when, and there's things that I want my daughter to express to me that are important to her, but I also am really good about listening to her when it's not. And, you know, instead of me imposing my things that are important to me onto her or vice versa, it gives her the ability to go through life. And like, she's not scared if like Mother's Day went by and she happened to be out of town and she didn't contact me, because I will have no feeling of anything if like we talk the next day, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want her to go through life with that pressure, right? And I think that is really important, because it's really freeing, especially as a mom and a woman, to wake up on Mother's Day and know that like I can tell myself that I'm a great mom, or, you know, like I can give myself that feedback. And if I get a call or a card or a flower, that's just like a bonus on top of it.
Sure. It's like gravy on the potatoes.
Yes.
So why do you think that male dominant women have such a hard time expressing their vulnerability, expressing what they need from someone else? What's your thought
I
on
would
that?
say, because I think I've had that issue myself, and so I feel like now I would have no issue. I think it's about I think it's about like women think like it's like you look weak or needy, and I think when, you know, I think that there's this idea, at least when I was growing up, of like women tend to have a reputation for complaining a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think I had somewhere I had these impressions of that, whether it was magazine articles or TV shows.
Right.
They represented women, you know, like they were naggy, whiny.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I was like, oh, I'm never going to be, you know, that. But what happened was, and then just seeing maybe relationships around me, right? Mm-hmm. And then my perception of it. Then I get in a relationship and I think, well, I'm not going to ask for anything when like that's not reasonable. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to express my need because I don't want to be seen as you know, nagging, right?
Or vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yes.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that word
right
when I was younger.
Right.
But it ultimately comes down to being vulnerable. But I think the thing is that it actually is it's actually the opposite of what you think it is. It's actually a strength to say, I need help and I can't carry this load.
I'm overwhelmed.
I'm
overloaded.
You know, I don't have
I'm
the energy.
feeling inadequate.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's also amazing how many people will rally around you when you say that you need help.
It is, and the point I'm making with that question is that there's a core abandonment issue. It's something they feel as if they didn't get. Mm-hmm. And so there's fear in expressing what they need because they think, oh, if I express it, that's a vulnerability and I'm not comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. And if I don't get it, it's really going to be harmful.
Or right? It means I don't deserve it.
Right.
Or...
So, but at the root of it, mm-hmm. so often is a male parent abandonment of mm-hmm. some sort. And because they're operating in masculine. Mm-hmm. So the woman in masculine doesn't need to work on masculine.
Right.
She doesn't need to work on saying, I'll handle it. She doesn't need to work on taking on the burdens and load. The work that needs to be done mm-hmm. is in vulnerability mm-hmm. because the masculine female feels vulnerable, mm-hmm. but they're not comfortable in being seen as vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Okay? So what we need to help them understand is where they're comfortable mm-hmm. is because of their generational behavior program. Mm-hmm. And if they want to really evolve and work through that, mm-hmm. then they learn to express their overwhelm, their overload, their vulnerability. They learn to ask for what they need or what's important to them. And so many of these ladies would get those flowers mm-hmm. if they were to risk and say, you know,
I feel really special.
Next week is my birthday, and I just love it when you bring me flowers.
Right.
And I probably haven't ever told you that before, but I think it's important that you know mm-hmm. that just makes me feel really good. Mm-hmm. And now, if you don't get the flowers, it's still better because you've learned to be vulnerable and work on where you need to work on within the program, within the behavioral program. Okay?
Yeah.
So I just think that's important for women today to realize that their husbands don't know what they need.
Right.
And they're reluctant to do something that they think will be criticized.
Right.
And so if they think that what they do will come with criticism, then they're paralyzed in doing anything.
Right. Which
Right?
that women, I mean, I was critical. I mean, I can, and I'm not anymore for the most part. I really try not to be like, but that takes its work.
Sure.
And it's something for, I think, all women to work on, but it's just a better place to be, to not be critical of, especially the person you're, I mean, if you're in a marriage, I mean, I say like, might as well make the best of it and
work on your weaknesses and see and then realize that your partner may have strengths where you have weaknesses, and you may have weaknesses where they have strengths. So, you know, the key is to be willing to look at your partner and what you can gain awareness from, because that's probably where you need to do work. So if you're male, if you're in your masculine, then the work needs to be done in vulnerability, into not committing, not overcommitting, being efficient, right? It's in expressing without expectation what you enjoy, not falling apart if it doesn't come to pass, but at least giving the person an opportunity to do something that will make you feel really good and special, right? So there's just so much that we can learn, and it's so much easier than we think.
Yeah.
And if we understand that it's not about the relationship that withholds, it's about what was withheld in our life prior to that relationship, and then the assumptions we make, like one of your sisters said, well, my dad didn't show up at my soccer game.
Or baseball. Yeah, baseball game.
Oh, okay, baseball game. But if I was a boy, he would have showed up.
Right.
But then...
We asked. You asked.
But then, when we saw images on the boys... It still showed up as the father was more absent and obscure.
Right. And you talked about if she had asked my dad to come and she hadn't.
No.
Yeah.
If men have been seeking approval from women that couldn't validate them their whole life, when they are not, when it's not expressed what someone needs, chances are that male parent's not going to do it.
Yeah, so if my sister would have known or had the awareness and could have said, Dad, it really makes me feel special when you come to my games. I mean, my dad would have been at every one.
You're right. Or, oh, it's really important to me that maybe you don't come to every game, but it's important to me that I see you at some of my games.
Yeah, he would have.
And because most men want female validation. But men who are not being validated, they don't know what to do. Right? Yes. So we both
that's a whole nother episode.
It sure is. But this is the stuff that's happening in the real world that needs to be discussed so that relationships are more fruitful.
Yes.
And that they can evolve that relationship and actually expand their emotional intelligence. Because, hey, either you're growing in emotional intelligence or you're unaware of the importance of it.
And you don't want to be like two ships passing in the night.
Right.
I mean, what's that point?
And our journey individually is to expand our emotional quotient or our emotional intelligence.
Right.
And between a relationship, it's important that we expand from our wound into new processes that are way more effective, that lead to harmonious and effective relationships instead of relationship stress and dysfunction.
This episode of the Adjusting Your Life podcast is brought to you by Ward Chiropractic. For over 30 years, Dr. Steve Ward has been helping people get to the root cause of their pain. He's a second-generation chiropractor who looks at the whole spine, not just the sore spot. With standing and seated full spine x-rays, Dr. Steve finds what most doctors miss. And his wall adjustment technique? It can bring fast relief. Back pain, sports injuries. Check out chiroman.com for hours, location, and to contact the clinic. Or stop by Ward Chiropractic Family Center today. Mention this ad, and you'll get a free recheck 2 hours after your first adjustment. That's Chiroman, CHIROMAN.com.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about how you end your day. So, Dr. Steve, how do you end your day?
When I come to the end of the day, I am going to do many things that I have done when I began my day.
Okay.
So for me, I have worked hard. I've worked physically. My body's tired. And so I so often start my day with stretching and icing. I use a massage gun when I start my day on the areas in my body that I have some issues with. And so when I end my day, I want to acknowledge what I have done throughout the day.
Okay.
So I'll think about the people that I've impacted their life. I'll think about how people came to me and they felt helpless or hopeless. They were new patients that have gone to other doctors. They haven't really seen the results that they needed. And so I'm always playing out in my brain some of these cases that were big victories, meaning the person that was so hopeless about their problem left my office feeling hope and feeling like they don't have to live with this problem for the rest of their life. And so I want to acknowledge what I have done throughout my whole day, my beginning, my middle, and the end is more about not what I'm going to do tomorrow, but what I have already done today that I can support and be excited about. So as well, I ice when I get home. I stretch when I get home. I use my massage gun sometimes for an hour and a half. I ended up going to Costco and buying a new massage gun because my massage gun was so loud. And so I was reluctant to use it at home because I didn't want to disturb my neighbors. So I ended up going to Costco. I found a new gun that is so quiet. And it has a cold feature. It has a heat feature. It has 6 different settings. And so I take care of me in the beginning of the day. I save energy throughout my day. And at the end of the day, it's my opportunity to take care of myself, to acknowledge what I've done, to acknowledge I've given my best, and to celebrate that, and to celebrate the wins, and to frame my brain moving forward. Because so often, we get done with work, we're exhausted, we're more in fear, we're more negative, we are shorter with our behavior, maybe more reactive, because of course if we're hungry or tired,
Right.
then the chances of reaction is more likely. But as we learn to be efficient in everything, not tie into outcome, tie into intention only, Give your best intention and always circle back. Oh, I gave my best today.
And my best.
My best is always enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's enough for others is not my need.
Mm-hmm.
My need is to be enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I get to the end of the day. And even when I'm really busy, my back may be sore, various things, but my energy is usually really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rarely get that fall off. It's very rare to see me irritable.
Mm-hmm.
It's really rare to ever catch me angry
Mm-hmm.
or catch me in a low emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I love always growing in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
I think as long as I'm alive, the greatest journey is to grow in your emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And to be able to get to an end of the day and celebrate it and recognize who you are and what you stepped up and what you did,
Mm-hmm.
and then give the validation back to self. Be clear on how important it is that you end your day with love, just like you began your day with love.
Right.
Right? I mean, if I'm beginning my day with,
Mm-hmm.
I choose to love myself. I choose to love the wonderful man I was created to be.
Mm-hmm.
My value's not in what I do. My value's in who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Every day of my life, I have an opportunity to build on my greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get to the end of the day, I can go through various commands as well. And so, because it's endless. When we think of the mind,
Mm-hmm.
and we think of how we can program our mind,
Mm-hmm.
it's really endless.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can say something like, I love myself. I'm choosing to be joyful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to be grateful. I'm choosing to encourage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to uplift. I'm choosing to validate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing to be a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
All these things are really powerful commands.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's interesting because when I broke my back
Mm-hmm.
in 2018, very hard time
Mm-hmm.
because I was fully bent over for like 3 years. I couldn't stand up. And I would have a patient say to me, well, you look terrible. And I'd say to them, if you saw me yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
you would be jumping for joy as to how great I look today. And they'd say, well, you look like crap.
Yeah.
But the only way I made it through that time
Mm-hmm.
was having a positive mindset
Mm-hmm.
and carrying it through from the beginning to the middle to the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so much power in how we end our day.
Mm-hmm.
And what we don't want to do is let our brain take off on all the things that we think we got to accomplish
Right.
the next day and negate all the things we accomplished today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why so many people have difficulty falling asleep, because their brain has been
Mm-hmm.
wired to think they got to handle everything. And so they can't turn off their brain. I have no difficulty turning off my brain. I get home, I watch positive things on YouTube. I might watch a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a deep day and it was real emotional, and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to watch some comedy because I feel like I need to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I'm going to watch romantic comedy because I feel like I need to tear up, because it's interesting how that works. Like I watch something, a romantic comedy or something that's a little sad, and I tear up. But the ladies I have attracted, they're like, what, are you crying? Like, what's wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's so powerful
Yeah.
that we're just keeping a positive mindset throughout our day. We're dedicated to that. We're holding on to being in positive vibration. We're acknowledging, we're validating, we're encouraging ourselves. We're beginning our day and ending our day with love, and this is going to allow us to grow beyond anything you ever thought was possible.
I think that something that I really, a question I like, and it can be used in different settings or circumstances. It could be done at the dinner table, depending if you're a family that has dinner together. But just saying to someone else, like, what is something you did today that you're proud of? I think is a great question. I think it's a great question for kids. I think it's a great question for kids to ask their parents, because I think sometimes that parents are going, and don't actually acknowledge maybe what they did during the day. And I think if that's part of the conversation in the evening, that it can, really be impactful for adults and children, know. And then, for me, for the most part, don't have a problem going to sleep either, because I think that I don't have that list of things running in my head anymore.
Right. Because
I'm kind to myself, and I know that I give my best, and my best is good enough for me. And, it doesn't have to be good enough for anyone else, including my daughter, and we have an open dialogue about that. And her best is good enough for her. It doesn't have to be extra for me. And I think that, just being able to appreciate the things that we do during the day, and just, even if it's something in your mind that you're having a conversation with yourself and just saying I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of you. I think that that's something that's important for adults to do as children. And it's not so much that, I do tell my daughter that I'm proud of her, but what's more important to me is that she's proud of herself. And that's what I want. So maybe I frame it as, if she, has did well on a math test or something, that that was a goal of hers, right? Because it's important for me as a mom to make sure that my goals I might have had in my mind for her are not actually that's not what I'm conveying, which is part of me taking my foot off the gas, right? And just kind of cruising, is to be mindful of what's important to her and how I can support her. As far as where if she wants to go to college, she seems to be college bound. That's something I think in her life that is in her, is part of her journey. But I'm open to wherever she wants to go, and I'm just going to be a supportive role. And it's important to me that she knows also, at the end of her day, that she doesn't have anything to prove to me.
Right. Yeah. That's the power, when someone knows that they're loved no matter what the outcome, instead of only loved in a certain outcome, right? And your growth has been enormous since I started working with you and your daughter. I feel as if I have had to work very little with your daughter, because you've been such a student of the game and so excited about growing and learning, and so willing to take your awareness and then, transfer that out. And so your daughter has benefited from that openness to grow inside of you. And as you've grown, you've been able to take the pressure off her. And then what has she done? Just one amazing thing after another.
Well, and that day you came over, I think it was talk to her.
Yeah, you were upset
I wanted you to talk to her.
I know.
And you talked to me.
Yeah.
And she heard you talk to me.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that was important, and she may not even know how to articulate this because, she was 12, is she needed, it's you were an advocate for her. And I think that kids need advocates. And I think that in that case, I thought you were going to tell her what she needed to change. Right. And I think I wanted her to make some changes.
Right.
And it really was about me making changes.
Right.
And then in a beautiful way, she evolved after that with that, but it really was, and I remember being a little bit why are we focusing on me right now?
I know you were not happy.
It was an interesting day. My sister was there. Our friend Kelly was there. That does some emotional. She's one of my coaches, and I think we were all surprised actually. And
Right.
I think I was feeling a little like I don't know, I was hot a little bit, like because I could see me out of the corner of my eye, and she was actually enjoying the fact that you were schooling me because and I needed it. And
Right.
it actually was, I think I was having a hard time being in. I was resistant to what you were saying, but I was willing to hear it out because I think I had a different idea, and then it was just ended up being a beautiful thing when I actually understood in the coming days as I processed what you said and how I was going to make a change myself, which ended up changing the relationship, which is a pivotal moment in the relationship with my daughter, especially in those teenage years, and being able to relate to them and stuff. But beyond the relationship with my daughter, I started doing those things in adult relationships. And then I've been able to see my adult relationships flourish, my relationship with my mom, my dad, changing, doing some different things with that, which obviously later episodes we're going to talk about all those relationships and the complexity of them and how we act in them because of our wound and how we can change that. So we have a lot of exciting things ahead. For more information on this episode and to read our show notes, go to adjustingyourlifepodcast.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
This is a broadcast of the Adjusting Your Life podcast, produced by Adjusted Life Media in 2025. All information contained in this episode and all other content provided on this channel is for informational and entertainment purposes only. This content is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you or someone you know is experiencing a medical emergency, please contact your local emergency services. Dr. Stephen M. Ward, D.C., is a board-certified doctor of chiropractic medicine, licensed in the state of California, County of Los Angeles. The Adjusting Your Life podcast is written and produced by executive producer Jamie Knapp and co-produced by Kennedi Hall and Dr. Stephen Ward as Dr. Steve. For more information or to connect with us, visit adjustingyourlifepodcast.com.